The prosecutors in the closing argument said that in order to keep his businesses afloat, Trump was desperate to secure loans, and he had to borrow hundreds of millions of dollars to keep his failing businesses going. And that's why he was forced to exaggerate his net worth. He exaggerated it, according to Letitia James, the Attorney General, by $3.6 billion. He said he was worth $3.6 billion more than he actually was. Why? Because he needed to convince the banks Mar-a-Lago was worth $500 million instead of $20 million, which it is. It's only worth $20 million. He needed the banks to believe Mar-a-Lago was worth $500 million so he could borrow against the property and secure lower interest rates by lying and saying he was a risk-free bet, which he is anything but a risk-free bet. Donald Trump has gone bankrupt at least 6 times. He's a horrible bet. In fact, he's the riskiest bet in real estate history. Everyone knows banks and lenders got paid back pennies on the dollars. If you were a contractor, you got paid back nothing. Prosecutors pointed out in their closing argument that Donald Trump saved at least $168 million in interest payments by conning lenders into giving him lower interest rates. Now, Trump keeps saying, but I paid them back. Yes, but you tricked the banks into selling you money at a much lower interest rate. I don't understand how this works. I've never bought money, right? But money is for sale. Trump needed, let's say, $500 million. He shops around for a loan that offers him the lowest interest rate. How do you get a low interest rate? You lie and say you're risk-free, so they charge you less for the money. He purchased the money on false pretenses. Who gives a crap about the banks? I agree, but it is illegal to lie on your financials. It's illegal. Like I said, Judge Arthur Engoron has promised to issue his ruling on the 31st of the month, and I'm sure he'll mete out a much lighter sentence for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump now has Sammy the Bull Gravano extolling both Donald Trump's character and virtue. I mean, what a great character witness, Sammy the Bull Gravano. This is what we've come to, the mass psychosis. The leading nominee for the Republican nomination, a former president, is on trial for fraud, and he's using Sammy the Bull Gravano as a character witness. Unbelievable, as a reference. So the judge said lunch, and Trump went, French fries? And stormed out of the courtroom and proceeded to violate the judge's gag order by attacking him, Letitia James, and then he turned to E. Jean Carroll, whose defamation trial begins right after the Iowa caucuses. And it looks like he defamed her once again. If you remember, Trump has already been found guilty of raping E. Jean Carroll and then defaming her. Now, thanks to the Adult Survivors Act in New York, the statute of limitations on rape was temporarily lifted for a year, and that allowed someone like E. Jean Carroll to step forward and sue Trump for civil damages. And that 1 year window has expired. Last year, a jury ruled that Donald Trump, now listen to me, a jury in New York ruled that Donald Trump did, in fact, rape E. Jean Carroll, and that she was not only entitled to damages for the rape, she was also entitled to damages because Donald Trump defamed her reputation after she went public with the allegations, which were true. So the purpose of next week's trial, like the fraud trial, civil fraud trial, is to determine how much Trump must pay in damages. His guilt has already been determined. Now, if you're a Republican in Iowa and you're thinking of voting for Donald Trump, please know that a jury in New York last year found Donald Trump guilty of rape. Look up U.S. District Judge Lewis A. Kaplan. He presided over the first trial and is presiding over the second. 3 times, Judge Lewis A. Kaplan has put into writing in 3 separate rulings revolving around the E. Jean Carroll case. 3 times he has written that a jury did in fact find Donald Trump guilty of rape in common law parlance. Trump keeps trying to spin it like it was just sexual assault, as though, what, that makes it a misdemeanor? It was rape. That's who you're going to vote for. And there are 30 other credible sexual assault allegations that have been leveled against this monster, a monster. Trump, poor Donald Trump, he cannot catch a break with women these days. E. Jean Carroll suing him for defamation and rape, Letitia James suing him for civil fraud, and now his mother-in-law upended his schedule by dropping dead. So inconsiderate. Now? She's going to die now? As if I don't have enough on my plate? Melania's mother died last week at the age of 78, and so Trump filed a motion to postpone the E. Jean Carroll trial in order to attend her funeral in Florida, and I hear it's out by the 7th hole. That's what I've been told. Well, you know, in all fairness, he does need to postpone the trial. Melania needs him by her side to comfort her. But Judge Kaplan dismissed the request. He said the trial date remains on schedule. That would be the day after the Iowa caucuses. Judge Kaplan said in turning down the motion, you don't need to be with your wife after her mother died. You're a rapist and your wife doesn't want you around. You sicken her. Okay, he didn't say that, but I'm sure he thought it because it's the truth. What, it's like Melania. I think Melania called him tearfully and said, Donald, my mother is dead and I need you to postpone the sentencing phase of that trial where you have already been found guilty of raping a woman. I need you to postpone your rape trial so that you can stay by my side and comfort me. You think that call was ever made? You think she even has his cell phone number? She's living in Trump Tower and he's living in Mar-a-Lago and the Bedminster Golf Club. They're done. They're done.
It's time right now for the David Feldman Show. He's talking politics and comedy too. Now tell a dirty joke if you want him to. He's just a lefty from way back. He's a union man with an Emmy for writing. Someday he's mad and he feels like fighting.